problems, everybody's favorite. Okay, so read the question. Always read the question. It says two numbers have a sum of 9. So you got two numbers. Okay, so x and y, it has to have a sum, which means plus, and it equals to 9. Well, how tough is that? That's really cool. And it has to have a product. So a product means timesing them. And that product is 20. Now, honestly, you could probably figure out that those two numbers are 4 and 5. I mean, that just makes sense, right? 4 plus 5 is 9, 4 times 5 is 20. But just for the sake of this podcast and the sake of this question, let's do this as they want us to do this according to the instructions, okay? So let's just play dumb for a bit and be smart. Yeah, figure that one out. Anyways, okay, here we go. So take a look at this guy right here. Take a look at this guy right here. One of the things that I told you, especially previous podcasts, is always solve for y equals 2. So if we're going to solve this guy for y equals 2, let's bring the x over onto this side. So we're going to have y equals to 9 minus x. And now this becomes like a system of equations. You take this 9 minus x, because that's what y equals to, and pop it in there. The old substitution method, right? So you're going to get x times 9 minus x, and that's going to equal to 20. You see what I did? Now, check this out. Distribute, giving you 9x minus x squared equals to 20. Now look how this is set up. This is set up perfectly for, guess what? y1, y2. Now, you can solve it that way, or even better yet, bring everything over to one side. Now, you're probably saying, well, wait a second. If I've got 9x minus x squared equals to 20, should I bring this over to this side? And if I do, look what I'm going to get. I'm going to get x squared minus 9x plus 20 equals to 0, right? But what if I move this guy over to this side? Won't I get minus x squared plus 9x minus 20 equals to 0? Well, wait a second. How can you have two possible equations giving you the same answer? Well, it's really simple. Look at this. This is opening down. This is opening up. Let me show you something on the calculator, and this will totally freak you out. Let's substitute in this guy right here. Let's substitute in that one first into the calculator, okay? So here's my calculator. There's my x squared minus 9x plus 20. I'm going to graph it. Bada bing. There it is. Now, I want you to see something. Notice that this has a root here, right? And has a root here. And if you look, it's pretty obvious to tell. 1, 2, 3, 4, that's going to be 4, and that's going to be 5. It's simple as that. There's our 4 and 5 answer that we figured out earlier. But I want to show you something that is just incredibly cool. Go back to this one. Remember this guy here? Remember this? Minus x squared plus 9x minus 20. Let's pop that in here and see what happens. Go back to my calculator here, right? Go to y2, go minus x squared plus 9x minus 20. Look at this for a second. Notice how they actually mimic each other. They're just negatives of each other. I wonder what this is going to give us. Graph it. Watch this. Oh my goodness. One's opening up, one's opening down, but the answers are still 4 and 5. So does it really matter if one's opening up and one's opening down? No, because you are after the roots. You don't care. As long as you have these solutions of x equals to 4 and x equals to 5, those are your possible solutions. Isn't that interesting? So it doesn't matter how you solve it, the roots turn out to be the same. Wow, is that ever mind-boggling? Okay, so let's go back to here now. Now think about this. I just gave you the x values. I told you the x values is x equals to 4 and x equals to 5. So we have two possible values for x that we have to solve. But wait a second. This question's not xx, this question is xy. So real simple, let's just go back to this guy right here, okay? Let's solve for y now. by substituting an x. So I'm going to put a 4 in here. That's my first x right here. I'm going to just put a 4. 9 minus 4 means y equals to 5. But what if I turn around and I do this? What if I substitute this value in? Well, look, I'll put a 5 there. 9 minus 5 is y equals to 4. So no matter how you do it, x equals to 4, x equals to 5. Okay, so your two numbers are 4 and 5, no matter how you do this. Kind of an interesting little question now, isn't it?